I don't like the fact that I have to sit here again for the second time this year and warn you that this might be happening again. Coronavirus has been the biggest medical health emergency of my and probably many other generations. It's ruined countries' economies, countries' health systems, and thrown some countries over the edge. It's shut companies down, it's killed people, and it's massively destroyed the next generation's hopes and dreams. We dealt with it once. We spent months and months indoors, self-isolating and staying in a confined space. And in the UK now, we might have to do that all over again. Coronavirus is picking back up, and the government don't know how to react and at what times to act. Their decision making now is going to affect us in months and possibly years to come. We'll decide whether we go into one of the biggest recessions in history or we come out of this on a striving path to achieve. Boris Johnson is now saying that there is a chance that by the end of Christmas we will be able to go back to normal because of a new action plan with testing that he is about to undertake. He hopes and plans to have every person in the UK be able to get access to a test, whether you're negative or positive. He wants to be able to test people going into schools, going into shops, going into buildings, and turn around results within 30 minutes. A bit ambitious, mate, but sure, everyone's got to have their dreams. But as sad as it is, as hopeful as these politicians sound, and as good at English as Boris Johnson is, that totally wasn't an internalised joke, it's not reality. The reality is very simple. Kids have gone back to school, children have begun to socialise again, and now the numbers are picking up. These children are taking it back to their grandparents, taking it back to adults. Their adults are going out to work, and it's just a continuous chain of infection. That social distancing, wearing masks and PPE is not enough to prevent. Social unrest is beginning. People are starting to ignore the government for the first time since yesterday, because it's been happening since probably about 1968. And because of this social unrest, the government don't have as much control as they think over everyone's daily actions, and we don't have a big enough police force to control everyone's actions and enforce the laws that are coming into place. It's a big mess. No one knows who to trust. Boris Johnson doesn't know how to deal with this as the one man who is responsible for it. He's got several different advisors begging him to do different things, and he has to make the right decision for all of us. And currently, he's not really doing that. Recently, the UK actually started from the Monday, the week you're watching this. He introduced a rule of 6. We are now no longer, under the law of the UK, allowed to meet more than 6 people from any household outside. I don't even think you're allowed to have 6 people indoors. I don't know how that works. So, point proven. The numbers are going up. And through basic logic, it's not that hard to predict that if we don't go into a full national lockdown, things are just gonna get worse. Even if the government bring in regulations for the entire country, stop people from going into households, prevent children from going into the parks after school, how the fuck are they gonna enforce these laws? Because half the public are not even listening to them. So it's pretty much clear now. At some point, probably before Christmas, I'm saying within the next 3 weeks, we are gonna be in full national lockdown. And no one, even myself, is not fully prepared for it. So ladies and gentlemen, because of this, I didn't want to make this video today. I didn't originally even have it on plan. But because of the current situation, I am going to be giving you my best advice for the future lockdown that I'm pretty sure now we're going into. Let's jump into a video that I really did want to make. Here you go. Now, I really don't think an intro's very needed for this video. I feel like this video is a bit too serious, should I say, a bit too in your face to be telling you to subscribe and join the channel and do all this other funky stuff. So, if you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, you don't. I don't really care. Now, I think part of this that the government hasn't really thought about much. I mean, it's been discussed in Parliament here and there, but the government really don't know how to act on is the intermediate mental health effects that these lockdowns are going to have, and especially a second. Let's remember that kids have only just gone back. Old grannies have only just started venturing back out into their communities. And now the government are like, you know what, you know that comfort zone you started to edge back into? Now we're just going to rip it off your back of your feet and you're going to fall straight back out in the ditch, which was lockdown. The consequences of this are going to be extremely traumatic. I can say from personal experience, the lockdown that we've just had really did bring me to my knees. That's due to other situations in my daily life, but I'm sure many of you can also say the same thing. And for many of us, we've only just started to get back on our feet, get back into a routine, see people again, and for some of us, our lives are picking back up. Even if you have to wear a face mask half of your day. I'm sorry to them people. But, as sad as it is, this is all going to be taken away once again. And the mental health effects of that, the government probably doesn't care about right now. And I don't think many of you are prepared for. If depression, anxiety and mental disorder rates weren't already soaring, they definitely will be if we go into another lockdown. Hint, hint, they are already soaring. The government don't have no plan to deal with this, and after this epidemic or pandemic, they're going to have an epidemic of mental health issues. People not being able to cope with basic social situations, not being able to go into a workplace without being stressed out their heads and thinking to themselves, I want to die. It's going to happen. But no, the government don't have time to think about that because, you know, they're just sitting there talking to a committee and not being able to speak English. That's what they're doing right now. Happy days, Boris Johnson. A lot of the time, this type of situation has got nothing to do with the fact that people are generally mentally unwell. A lot of the time, it has to do with a lack of education. Most people don't know how to keep themselves mentally healthy in the normal world, when every luxury you could possibly have is right in front of you. So how are these people who don't know how to do that going to keep themselves healthy when all them luxuries are stripped away? Now, by luxury, I mean seeing family. I know probably most of you don't see this as a luxury, but technically it is. To be able to go see family, to be able to go to the pub, to be able to go to a restaurant, to be able to go and seek mental health support, these are luxuries, considerably. And some people can't even cope when all them luxuries are there. During lockdown, all them luxuries are stripped away, and suddenly people are left to their own devices. It's not often in society today, and just generally in life, that people are made to sit at home and not move. To not have anyone to talk to not have much entertainment, and to not be able to go out into the outside world. It's not often that you are left with your own thoughts and your own mind. And what happens 99% of the time when you leave someone to their own devices is they learn things about themselves that they did not know. Most people don't even know themselves normally. So, a lot of the time, learning about yourself in these environments is quite torturing. They start to learn new mental health issues that they may have not even seen before because their normal lives distracted them from the harsh reality that they're not well. They notice that suddenly they're really socially awkward, or they notice that they can barely even cook. They start to notice that their family really pissed them off and they can't even spend an entire day with them without wanting to slap someone. Issues start to pop up, and they're probably some of the biggest issues during lockdown. in reality, humans should be able to cope very well without these luxuries. I mean, for fuck's sake, over 1,000 years ago, we could live in caves quite happily and eat random bugs off the floor. Shows how far humanity's developed. Now we can't cope 2 seconds without knowing we can go down the pub down the road and get a few drinks. Yes, that's society for you. So, part of coping with this lockdown is learning about you. Understanding what you really need, want, and can have. If you take them 3 key things out of perspective, things become a hell of a lot harder. Work out what your priorities are, what your needs are, and what's a bit of a luxury. And, you know, the government kind of hand it to you because they're nice. It's being disciplined and strict with yourself. In times of any form of emergency, that could be conflict, health, or any other forms of emergency, you have to strip back to the basics. You have to strip back to the most important things in your life and make sure they are maintained. Now, if the most important thing in your life is going down the pub, you really need to reconsider your priorities. Your priorities should be your health, being able to eat and drink every day, and keeping yourself occupied at home. Let's just clarify that. And obviously looking after any other mental health needs that you may have. And you've kind of just got to accept this. I know whenever someone says to you, you've got to accept something, you're like, for fuck's sake, how am I meant to accept this? I just want to be pissed off at it. You can be pissed off at it all you like, but don't expect to be coming out of lockdown with a happy face if you didn't accept it. Part of being a mature adult or even a member of society is working together. And the only way we can work together is if we sacrifice things so the rest of us can stay alive. Every time you do something that's considered a luxury, you're putting some nan, some granddad, some person with underlying health conditions at risk. All because you wanted to go and do something that the government legally don't even have to let you do. The government don't have to provide you pubs. They don't have to provide you restaurants. They don't have to provide you swimming pools. They don't really even have to provide you a house. They could be like, yo, here's a plot of land, build your own house. But we don't live in that type of government. The government give us luxuries. But in times like this, them luxuries are unusable. So, instead of being selfish, it's time to accept the fact that for this year, most of it, you're not going to have them luxuries. And that's the first part of coping with this, is acceptance. There's no point sitting here moaning, bragging, sitting here complaining to the government, be like, do better. Yes, I do understand that we have a Prime Minister that can't speak English, but you voted for him, so technically it's our fault. We live in a democracy. And because of that, we have to live with him. We have to do what he says and hope that he's making the right decisions. We can't change that, or unless we start rioting and take over the government and storm into Buckingham Palace and kill the Queen. Please don't do that. I will get sued. Probably a bit more than sued, but you know. So, first step, accept. Next thing, and that's probably going to be the biggest thing that you're going to struggle with over lockdown, is loneliness. We are naturally social human beings. We are born and genetically created to socialise. We are meant to work in tribes and in teams. Alone, we are no form of species and our intelligence levels drop to dramatic levels. This is why we live in communities. But during lockdown, you're going to be stuck in your house, possibly with a bunch of people you don't like, and you're probably going to feel quite lonely. But what a lot of people do when they become lonely is instead of trying to find something to cure that loneliness, they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm lonely, I don't have no friends, I don't have no life, I'm going to sit here and do nothing about it and be depressed. I'm going to go cry in the corner now. Bye. I hope all my problems get solved. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I whacked the chair on the door. But as sad as it is, ladies and gentlemen, that's not how you solve loneliness. You're just going to make yourself worse. Now, I'm not saying it's not okay to feel things, But if you don't want to feel loneliness, you've got to do something to not feel it. Don't expect it to just go away. During lockdown, I heard so many stories of how these people are complaining that they're lonely, they've got no friends, they don't know what to do, they're bored. And I'm like, what are you actually doing to make sure you're not bored and lonely? And they couldn't give me an answer. And I then replied with the exact terminology of exactly. Use this time of loneliness to look at yourself and be like, how can I improve me? Give your brain something else to focus on rather than the fact that you're not going to be able to see your nan for God knows how long. Dwelling gets you nowhere, as would be said. Set up technology, if you have a laptop or a tablet or a phone, most people do nowadays, pick it up, set up Zoom, get your family all connected up to it, and do Friday night quizzes. There you go, there's your social activity. FaceTime your mum, your dad, your nan, your auntie, your sister, your cousins, every day. Even set up specific times in the day where you call them. It's called being proactive. Thinking outside the box. It's time to invest in the things closest to you, which is your family. Let's remember, guys, for some of us, our families live far away. For some of us, we don't even live with them. So if you live with them, take advantage of it. The people who don't, try and learn the people you do live with a tiny bit better and build a more stable connection. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, but you've got a lot of time on your hands. You're in lockdown. It's something to give a go. Next thing you're going to struggle with is a lack of activity. Don't let yourself fall into that trap that everyone falls into of I'm going to sit on my arse all day and do nothing because I can. It's alright to do that every so often, but every single day is going to lead you to a cycle of depression. And don't let that happen. Make a continued effort to get up every day, get dressed, brush your teeth, have a shower, go down, have breakfast. As much of your daily routine as you can keep intact, keep it up. Trust me, I learned the hard way that it makes your life a hell of a lot easier. You need to, as much as possible, convince your brain that things are not as bad as they look. Otherwise, you are going to seriously feel depressed. Try new things at home. Try solving puzzles. Try learning a new skill. Try educating yourself on a new topic. Keep up schoolwork if you're in a teenage environment. Also, try and do new things for self-care. Maybe try meditation for once. Maybe try and start up some form of app where you can do self-care techniques or whatever. Just anything you can. Even sit there and design a business plan for the future. It's something to do. And trust me, I learnt the easy way, I can't really say the hard way, that the more skills you learn during that period of where you're kind of just locked in yourself, you then use them skills when you come out of it. And trust me, it feels amazing. The amount of random Google searches I made, which I never thought at the time I'd ever use, that now I actually use quite a lot. So I guess it was good intelligence. Accepting that life is not going to be perfect. Probably my top one here. Accepting for the next couple of months that your life is not going to be the grand hall of a queen's mansion. Your life's going to be rough, hard, lonely, and a tiny bit off-putting. But that's life. Remind yourself every day of why you're doing it. You're not just necessarily doing it for you, you're doing it for the people around you. For your nan, for your granddad, for your friends' nans and granddads. For every member of your associated family that has an underlying health issue. And basically everyone in the UK who has an underlying health condition. You're doing it for the NHS to make sure that this country stays intact. But most importantly, you're doing it for you. To keep you safe, healthy and alive. Let's remember the government are not always stupid. They managed to keep the COVID-19 cases reasonably stable last time. The NHS didn't get overwhelmed. So we know the measures we used last time do work. Realistically, we shouldn't have to do them again, but sadly, this is how life is. Again, we voted for Boris Johnson here. Now, I know I've sounded really harsh during this video, and I don't like being harsh with people. I do feel like sometimes being harsh with someone can make them feel worse. But in these situations of pure national emergency, we don't have much other option. As I said to myself last week, you've got to live with what you've got. You've got to work with what you've got and build from what you have. If you don't do that, you're never going to get anywhere. So guys, I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Please keep updated on my website down below. I'm probably going to be more active on there than I will be here over the next couple of weeks. But whatever happens, please know that you are your top priority and your safety. If you're looking after yourself, I can bet you now you're looking out after everyone else outside. Because part of looking after yourself is staying at home if we go into lockdown. So guys, I wish you the best of luck. I will be here whenever you need me, and I'll try and continue posting advice videos as much as I can. The filming and the setting of all this may change as time goes forward because of coronavirus restrictions. But apart from that, I will try my best. I wish you luck, stay healthy, work on yourself, and I'll catch you whenever I post next. I don't know when it's going to be. See you later.